Hi everyone, this is Movie Tales, your fast-track pass to the best stories in cinema. Today's story, Black Phone 2. Enjoy watching. The story begins in Colorado, back in 1957. In the mountains stands a winter camp called Alpine. A young woman named Hope uses a black payphone near a frozen lake. She dials a number she claims to have seen in a dream. Someone answers, and everything fades to black. The narrative jumps to 1982 in North Denver. Gwen watches as her older brother Finn gets into a fight with a new student. The newcomer had bullied Finn years ago, back when Finn survived the serial killer known as the Grabber. During his escape, Finn killed the man, and ever since, many kids have wanted to test him. Ernesto, the younger brother of one of the Grabber's victims, invites Gwen to a concert, and she agrees. Later that evening, Finn smokes weed to calm his nerves. In the yard, he sees a shadowy figure, a silhouette that resembles the Grabber. Gwen has a disturbing nightmare set at Camp Alpine. She sees a boy being chased by a man with a knife. The boy is caught, stabbed, and left beneath the ice, where he scratches the first letter onto the frozen surface from below. Sleepwalking, Gwen wanders through the house until Finn wakes her. At school, many consider Gwen a witch because of her strange visions. In truth, she has psychic abilities, something that doesn't scare Ernesto. He even brings her tarot cards, hoping she'll like them. Meanwhile, Finn hears a payphone ringing on the street. He answers, tells the caller he can't help, and walks away. That night, Gwen dreams again. Another boy at the camp is hunted down, beaten, dismembered, and burned. His spirit rises from dark water and scratches the second letter into the ice. Sleepwalking once more, Gwen sees burned remains lying in the snow, echoes of her dream. Her visions intensify. She rides her bike through the night, drawn to the Grabber's old house. Outside, she slips into the basement window, the same basement where Finn was once held captive. Inside, a black phone hangs on the wall. It rings. Gwen answers and hears her dead mother, Hope. Hope explains that she used to have visions just like these. When the call ends, Gwen senses someone behind her, a bloody, terrified man. Footsteps echo from upstairs as someone descends toward the basement. Just then, Finn wakes her, pulling her out of the nightmare. But when she climbs the stairs, she notices real blood on her feet, a puddle she stepped into during her dream. The next day, Gwen convinces Finn to join her as a counselor at Camp Alpine, hoping to learn the truth about the missing children. Their father, Terrence, notices the camp brochure and quietly mentions that their late mother once worked there. Finn refuses at first, until Ernesto persuades Gwen to go, which makes Finn join them out of jealousy. They reach the mountains late at night. Snow makes visibility nearly impossible. Finn exits the car to guide the way. Suddenly, a girl on horseback approaches, Mustang, the niece of the camp's owner. She leads them to the gates, where they meet Armando, the owner of the camp. Armando and Mustang show them to their cabins. That night, Gwen dreams of a drummer from a Christian music group performing at the camp. She sees the third boy beneath the ice, scratching another letter. Awake, she checks under the bed. Nothing. But under the next bunk, she sees the ghost of one of the murdered boys. Another appears, burned and disfigured. He grabs Gwen's arm, leaving a real burn mark on her skin. Outside the window, a third child's ghost materializes, only to have his head sliced by the ghost of the killer himself. Meanwhile, Finn steps outside to smoke. At the lake, he sees a payphone booth. Its light flickers on, the phone rings, Finn answers, and hears the Grabber, the killer he once defeated. Terrified, he slams the receiver down as the booth doors shut on their own. He hears Gwen scream inside the cabin and rushes to her. Thankfully, the doors unlock and he leads her to safety. In the morning, Gwen realizes Ernesto knows about her visions and that Finn receives calls from the dead. She wants to discover what happened to the missing children before she becomes the next victim of her own nightmares. Armando introduces the new counselors to the camp staff, Barbara and Kenneth, the only administrators who made it through the snowstorm. He warns Gwen not to sleep in the boys' cabin again. Gwen shows Armando a photo of her mother. He recognizes Hope. She worked at the camp before it was closed years ago due to the disappearance of 3 children. Outside, Finn hears another phone call and runs to the booth. The ghosts of the murdered children are there, waiting, but unable to speak clearly about their deaths. Gwen and Ernesto visit the office to ask Barbara about the missing kids, but she refuses to discuss it. That night, Gwen dreams again, this time seeing Hope talking through the payphone, just like Finn does. A dead boy appears and runs, forcing Gwen to follow him. Another ghost guides her deeper into the snowy forest. He leads her to the camp kitchen. At the same time, Finn hears a phone call in bed. He steps outside to answer, and the grabber speaks again. The killer remembers how he died. He wants revenge. He'll start by hurting the people Finn loves. In the kitchen, Gwen is attacked by the ghost of the murderer. He lifts her into the air, throws her around the room, and drags her toward an open oven filled with flames. Ernesto catches her just in time. Mustang arrives to help. Only Finn's sudden appearance forces the killer's ghost to flee. After surviving the attack in the kitchen, everyone gathers inside the camp chapel. Armando finally tells the truth. Years ago, when the 3 children disappeared, he was one of the people searching for their bodies. He later bought the abandoned camp and reopened it, hoping that one day the missing kids would be found, so their souls could finally rest. He shows the counselors an old staff photo. Finn immediately recognizes 2 people, his mother Hope and the man who once kidnapped him, the grabber, back when he worked under the name Wild Bill. This revelation shocks everyone. Gwen suddenly understands the letters carved under the ice in her dreams. They are the initials of Wild Bill, left by the murdered children. Armando believes Gwen was sent by God. She is the only one who can see the truth. And the truth is simple. The children's bodies are in the lake. Their restless spirits are what give the grabber's ghost its deadly strength. The group decides to search the frozen lake at dawn. But that night, the grabber strikes again. Armando is in the radio room when the power cuts out. Something taps against the window, a snowball. But when it slides down the glass, it forms a horrifying bleeding face. At sunrise, Armando and the counselors head onto the frozen lake. They clear snow from the ice, trying to see through the frozen surface. Hours pass, the sun sets. Still, nothing. That night, Finn and Ernesto stand guard by Gwen's bed to prevent her from sleepwalking into danger. Gwen dreams again, this time more vividly than ever. She sees a boy delivering newspapers, the grabber's first official victim, taken right after being fired from the camp. Then she sees Hope, her mother, experiencing the same nightmare years earlier. Hope went to the grabber's house in the middle of the night, looked into the basement window, and saw a kidnapped boy. Before she could escape, Wild Bill grabbed her, dragged her into his van, and killed her, hanging her in Terrence's garage to stage a suicide. Gwen sees it all. In the dream, the grabber then tries to kill her too. She flees into the basement, the same one Finn escaped from years ago, and crawls through the tunnel he dug in the first film. But the tunnel leads only to a locked freezer. The killer appears and swings his axe. His blade grazes Gwen's arm, and in the real world, a cut opens on her skin. Just before he delivers the killing blow, the ghost of one of the camp boys pulls Gwen out of danger, bringing her onto the frozen lake in her dream. Armando is there, desperately chipping through the ice. He sees a body embedded below the surface. Cracks form. Something dark swims beneath him. The payphone booth materializes beside Gwen. The phone rings. Finn's voice comes through the line, warning that the killer is going to murder Armando right now. On the ice, the grabber suddenly appears behind Armando, skating silently like a predator. He swings his axe, smashing the ice behind Armando. The ice collapses. Armando plunges into the freezing water. The grabber plants his foot on Armando's head, keeping him underwater. Gwen, trapped inside the booth, pounds the glass. The killer turns to her. He tightens a phone cord around her neck and spins her like a yo-yo. Using sheer willpower, Gwen shatters the phone booth. The explosion of psychic force knocks the grabber back and breaks the nightmare. She wakes up, gasping. Immediately, Gwen runs to the real lake. Armando's frozen hand sticks out of the hole in the ice. He's barely alive, but Gwen pulls him out. That night, Terrence arrives in a snowplow to take his children home. Finn is ready to leave this cursed place, but Gwen refuses. She needs to free the children and avenge their mother. The next morning, everyone, including Barbara and Kenneth, continues clearing snow from the lake, searching for the bodies trapped beneath. Hours pass. Gwen suddenly falls asleep on the sled. In her dream, the grabber patrols the frozen lake on skates. He attacks Kenneth first, hooking him with his axe and dragging him across the ice. Gwen tries to stop him, but falls into a hole in the ice. Underwater, she sees metal barrels filled with human remains. Remembering that actions in the dream affect the real world, she uses all her psychic strength to push the barrels upward, loosening them from the lake bed. Above the surface, the grabber continues attacking the counselors, slicing them with his axe and revealing more of his monstrous mask. Terrence notices bubbles in the ice and dives into the freezing water. He sees a barrel rising and drags it up. Gwen's astral form helps him. The grabber suddenly sees the ghosts of all 3 murdered boys. Before he can strike, Gwen drives an axe into his forehead. Finn grabs the killer's ghostly head and smashes it against the ice, desperate to break his power. He drags the body toward the hole in the ice. The remaining fragments, even a severed leg, slide into the water, pulled down by the spirits of the murdered children. Finally, the grabber's spirit dissolves, frozen and destroyed forever. Later, Armando calls the families of the missing children to tell them the remains have been found. At last, they will have answers. As Gwen walks past the payphone on the shore, it begins to ring. Finn ignores it, no longer haunted by the dead. Gwen answers. On the line is Hope, their mother. She tells Gwen she's proud of her and that she loves both her children. Gwen hangs up, breaks into tears, and tells Finn what Hope said. Moments later, the siblings get into the truck with their father. Together, they leave the cursed camp of Alpine behind forever. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to see the latest videos first.